at Comfort Books, and I'm here to do my January reading wrap-up. I was technically supposed to do this a few days ago and have it up for today when you're going to see it, but, I was supposed to have it up the day before today, I was supposed to have it up by Monday, February 1st, because I was gonna put it up then on YouTube and then link it to my wrap-up, which goes up today. So it's a little late. I'm still gonna link it to my wrap-up. It's just gonna be a little late. Sorry. Alright, so I'm just gonna go through the books that I've read this month, and I'm pretty proud of myself because I had half of the month off from school, so I was able to read 6 books, and I am very proud of myself because I never read that many books in a month at all, whatever. Well, I do when I'm not in school, I guess. So anyways, let's get to the books. So the first one I read was The Lies About Truth by Courtney C. Stevens. If you've read anything by her, she's an amazing author. I actually had an arc of her first book, Faking Normal. That might not be her first book, but I had an arc of the book before that, and it was called Faking Normal, and it actually got ruined in a rainstorm thing, because my cousin had decided that he wanted to put all my books on my windowsill, and it was I think during the summer, so we had a lot of rain, and the rain would leak through the window, and it'd start deteriorating at the books, and it was making the pages damp, so they were sticking together, so if you tried to read it, they were ripping apart, so you couldn't see the words, and it was just the worst experience of my entire life, because I lost so many books to that, because my cousin thought it would be a good idea to stack my books on the window sill. I mean, the way my room used to be, it was a nice open window, so with a ledge, and it would look pretty with all the books, a few stacked there and there, but some of them were just a little too close to the window, and the ones on the edges, the ones in the middle seemed to be okay because there's no rain, but the ones on the edges, those were ruined, and I had to throw away her other book, and so I never got to read it, which I was really bummed about, because I won the arc 6 months before it came out, and so I had 6 months to read it, and it got ruined the second month that I had it, so I never got to read it before it came out, and I was really upset. It's been out for a while now, The Faking Normal, so eventually I will pick up another copy and read that, but until then, who knows. But anyways, this was about, a group of friends who tragedy struck and one of their friends died, and it's kind of hard to explain. So it's the main character is Sadie, and then her best friend Trent is the one that died. So, and then the other characters are Trent's brother Max, and then Sadie's boyfriend at the time, what's his name? What the heck? I can't remember. I love this book and I can't even remember his name. That's so bad. Gray. Okay, so Sadie's the main character. I'm so bad at this. Sadie's the main character. Gray is her boyfriend. And then there's Trent, which is Sadie's best friend, and his girlfriend, Gina. And then Trent's brother, Max. That's a group of friends. Trent dies, and the group just falls apart because, does it say? I don't want to say. So, I don't want to say why they fall apart, other than his death, because that's kind of a spoiler. But they get in a car accident, and that's how he dies, and it's just, their life is terrible from there. This is an amazing book. I read it in a few sittings. I would have been able to read it in one if I had enough time. Amazing. Please check it out. This is an arc, but it came out in November, so it's already out in stores. Go check it out. The second book I read was towards, because I'm doing new challenges this year, and I started the Finish the Series challenge, and that series that I wanted to finish was Immortal Instruments. So I picked up the third book, City of Glass, because that's the book I was on, and I flew through it. So it's kind of good, because usually when I pick up books that are more than 400 pages, I do not finish them. And if I do finish them, I don't finish any other books. So the fact that this was the second book I finished this month, and I still finished 4 other ones, I was pretty impressed with myself. So yeah, I finished this one, and now I have to read, because I also found out that to do this series, I have to also do the Infernal Devices series at the same time, because they intertwine with each other. So in the end, I will end up have finished 2 series rather than just 1. So that's good. The next book I read is Heaven is for Real by Todd Burpo. Oh, actually, before I move on, this one is also for the TBR challenge that I'm working on 2016's TBR challenge, as well as the 2016 Backlist Books Challenge, which you guys will see on my blog. If you head over there, you'll see it. Okay, so next up is Heaven is for Real by Todd Burpo, and that is also for my TBR challenges, the two that I just mentioned. This was, so let's just make this known. I am not a crazy religious person. I'm not an atheist. I'm not like a crazy, like I've never been baptized, so I don't really have a religion. I mean, there's things that I believe in and there's things that I don't believe in, and it's just that. Okay, so I'm not crazy religious. And this book, a lot of people believe that it's like, you have to be really, really religious to read this. And I don't think that's the truth, because you can believe in heaven and you don't have to, like, people can believe in heaven and people don't have to believe in heaven. This story is about a little boy who gets really sick, and he has this out of body experience where he says that he went to heaven and he saw like his mom and crying and his dad his mom on the phone and his dad crying while he was in the operating room. And so the story is that he went up to heaven and was brought back to life because his life wasn't over. And so like a lot of people are like, oh, I can't, like I had an ex-boyfriend who is an atheist and he was like, wouldn't read this book because it's about heaven. And it's like, I understand that like you don't believe in heaven, but you could still read the little boy's story, and like you don't even have to entertain that the idea is real. You could just be like, okay, this little boy had this happen to him, or he says he has this happen to him, and just appreciate the story for what it is. You know, you don't have to be a believer. That's how I see about it. That's what I think, how I think about it. Sorry, I don't even know how to talk. So anyways, this was a really, really good book. I read this in about a day, 2 maybe, and I enjoyed it. I saw like half of the movie before I read this book, so I'm gonna go back and rewatch the movie and see if I get a better gist of it. But yeah. So next up, I read Macbeth, Killing It by I forgot to take the sticky note off. Hold on. So Macbeth, Killing It by William Shakespeare, obviously, and Courtney Carbone. So this is a modern day retelling, not a retelling. So it's the play Macbeth in modern day texting lingo, which I think is incredibly cool. I don't know if you guys have watched my videos for a while, then you know. I should have made a rant about this, because that would have been a good video idea. Maybe I will. Actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna tell you. I think I will make a rant video, because I think I did post about it somewhere, but I didn't post about it on YouTube. So stay tuned for a rant video about this series. And not bad. It's about people that don't agree with reading this at all. So stay tuned, because that will come. But anyways, this is the Random House Children's asked me to read this, and they asked me to read Midsummer Night's Dream as well, which I have over there. This is the bound edition. Yeah, because I also last summer they asked me to read YOLO Juliet and Seriously Hamlet, which were the actual books, and so these ones were coming out, and they said, do you want to read them? And I was like, sure, why not? The first ones were good. I would love to. And I was also actually taking a Shakespeare class at the time that they asked me to read these, so I brought them into my Shakespeare class, and he was like wicked excited about it, because he was my Shakespeare teacher. He likes everything Shakespeare, like any artifacts, anything. He just likes Shakespeare. So I brought him in, and he was like, really cool. Once we're reading this play, because I think we were reading A Midsummer Night's Dream. We didn't read Macbeth, but we were reading that, and Romeo and Juliet, and Hamlet. So he was like, bring those in when we're reading those perspective plays, and we'll pass them around and give people another like view on Shakespeare. Because he brought in, like, the first day he brought in like 20 Shakespeare artifacts, like napkins and quotes and a mug, and like it was just so cool, all the things he brought in. So he was really obsessed. Anyways, let's get on, because this is already 9 minutes and I'm not even done. So the next 2 that I read, I don't have. One I borrowed from work, one was an ebook. The first one is This Is Where It Ends by, I can't even pronounce that author's name, so I'm not going to try. That book is a fiction teen, about a school shooting. And it's, the shooter in the school is actually someone who is very close to a lot of people in the school. So it's not like he's just a random guy that came in from outside and was like, I'm going to shoot you all. It was really close to some of the people, and so that makes for an interesting story. That was a really good book. I read it first of all, I read it for the debut author challenge, and I also read it for January new releases that is on Goodreads. So yeah, that happened. And then the last book that I read recently, the review isn't out yet because my My spot on the blog tour hasn't happened yet. But it's Death Wish by Megan Tate, and that book is about, I still haven't wrote the review, so I'm slacking on that one, but that book is about a girl whose sister dies, and she goes to spend the summer in the place where her sister spent her last few months, and she meets all the people that her sister hung out with, and she falls in love, and she makes some friends, and she witnesses a few deaths, and it just, a lot of stuff happens, and it all whirlwinds into her powers, and it's an interesting book. I have some issues with it, but I'll get into that more when I do, because I think I might want to make a video about that book. I'm not sure yet, but I'll get into it more in my review. So check out my review for that book if it's a video, or I'm definitely going to write a written review, but I might make a video about it, so check out either of those. I don't know why I have a pen in my hand, I just do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed all the books that I've read this month. Let me know what you guys read below, or link me to your January wrap-ups, because I love watching them. I love to see what other people are reading. And if you're doing like a February TBR, link me that too. I don't do them because it just makes me not want to read because I'm weird. But link me to yours because I still like to watch them. Thanks for watching again. Bye, guys.